Number 11 says, a house painter mixes 5 gallons of blue paint with every 9 gallons of yellow paint in order to make green paint. Which ratio of gallons of blue paint to gallons of yellow paint will make the same shade of green paint? They want to know which ratio is the same. They're basically asking us about equivalent fractions. So now let's take our ratio of 5 to 9, and we're going to write it as a fraction. 5 blue over 9 yellow. Okay? And they want to see which of these is equivalent. So we have to basically plug in. Guys, the first thing I'm going to do, I know that whatever I do, it has to be a multiple of 5. So if I look at my answer choices and I look at the first number, 6 is not a multiple of 5. So I'm going to cross that one out right away. 10 is, 30 is, 27 is not. So I would cross that one out right away. Okay? Do the same thing with your 9s. If I look at the second number, 54, is it a multiple of 9? Yes. And 45, is it a multiple of 9?
Yes.
So now we've just got to see which one is equivalent. Okay? So let's start with A. I always just start at the top. If I have 30 over 54, there are 2 ways to do this. Way number 1 is if you can't look and see what I multiply by here to get that, what I multiply here by that to get that, and see if they're the same, then you would cross multiply. You would butterfly it. Multiply those, and see if they equal. But with this one, I can just look. What do I multiply 5 by to get 30?
6.
What do I multiply 9 by to get 54?
6.
So this is my answer. You see how we did that? We had to see if they were multiplied by the same thing to get an equivalent fraction. So A was it. Number 12. A county with an area of 425 square miles has a population of 9,350 residents. 2 numbers in 1 sentence is a formula fraction. So I'm going to write 425 miles over 9,350 R for residents. That's just people that live there. Which rate, when I see the word rate, I know I'm going for unit rate. What does unit rate have on the other side? A what? A 1. Which rate best represents the relationship between the population of the county, it's a state county, and the area of the county? So if we look at number 12, we have to cross multiply and then divide to get that. Well, this one's easy. What's 9,350 times 1? 9,350. But now we have to divide it by 425. Okay? And y'all, here's the deal. We can do some process of elimination here. If I multiply 425 times 22, do you think I might get 9,350?
No.
Yes. It's a small number. If I multiply 425 times 9,350, is that going to give me 9,350?
No.
That should have been the first one you crossed out. And same thing with D. 425 is way too big of a number for me to get as my answer when I divide. They just gave you the numbers in your answer choices. They're trying to trick you. Those should have been the first 2 you crossed out. So now, do I really have to divide this? What's the number in both of my answer choices? 22. Save yourselves time. You know this is going to be 22. What they want you to check is if you know your units or not. So this was miles. This was residents. 22 residents per, remember per means 1 square mile. Look at that again. 22 residents per square mile, 1 mile. Which answer choice says that? No, let's just say what I'm pointing at, y'all. 22 residents per square mile. 22 residents. All they really needed you to do on this is just match what you got, your units. That's why I always tell you to write your units. That's why it's so important. If you didn't on this one, you got it wrong. Should have gotten C. All right, our two bonuses. This one looks a lot like what we did in class the other day. I think it was on Wednesday when we did our proportions. We just wrote them. At Kimbrough Middle School, there are 170 girls in athletics and 255 boys in athletics. What percentage of students in athletics are them? So what does that tell me I do?
You had to add 200.
Add them to get my total. So I'm going to make a proportion. I see percent, so I know I'm going to have percent over 100. And like you guys said, y'all are so smart, I have to add to get the total number of students. Because remember, this is part and this is whole. 170 plus 255 equals what? 425. What's my part?
170.
Boys. How many boys did we have? 255. Now what do we have to do? Cross, multiply, and divide, right? So, if I have 255 times 100, save yourself time. What do I need to do? What do I do with those zeros? Don't take them out. I don't have any zeros to take out here. We're multiplying. Add them on at the end. 255 with 2 zeros at the end. That's it. We're done. Now, I have to divide by 425. When I start dividing, guys, I really only have to go in about one time to figure out what answer it is because all of them start with a completely different number. Okay? So, let's think about it for a minute. Let's go ahead and call 425 500. Right? Because it's pretty close. 500. 1,000. I'm looking to get to 2,550. 1,000. Sorry. 500. 1,000. 1,500. 2,000. 2,500. What am I at? 5. So this is going to go in at least 5 times. Which two answer choices can I cross out? C, because it says 4. And B, because it says 1. I know it has to go in at least 5 times. My first number at least has to be a 5, if not a what? A 6. There's no way it's going to be an 8. That would be way too big. So guess what? I don't really have to finish solving this. Only one of these answers is going to be possible. A. 425 would go into 2,550 exactly 6 times. You would have no remainder and you'd get a 0. I'm shortcutting that one. Okay. Last bonus question. The shaded model represents 100%. This, guys, is 100%. 100% is one whole. Which model represents 33 and 1/3? Okay, so 33 1/3%. Y'all, I was sitting here trying to figure this out for forever. Percent. This is 100%. 33 and 1/3%. What do you think that would be in terms of, if this is a 100, how can we split this up into about 33%? What fraction can you think of that's about equivalent to 0.33? Everybody look at that poster on my polka dot wall. What fraction is equivalent to like 0.33? 1/3. So So shouldn't I split this into thirds?
Yes.
1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So if we stopped here, this would be about 1/3. This would be 2/3. Which one's going to be equivalent to 0.33? 1/3, 2/3, or 1/2? So guys, look at it for a minute. If this is 100% and we're looking for 33%, just ignore that fraction. How do I turn a percent to a decimal? Percent to decimal. Percent to decimal. So which one of these is equivalent to 0.33? What fraction? I just asked you, and you just gave me the answer a minute ago on the polka dot wall. 1/3, 0.33. I haven't even looked at answer choices. What are y'all doing? I'm asking you which fraction is equivalent to 0.33. And what would it be?
1/3.
1/3. Which one of these shows 1/3 shaded? That's it. This one looks way harder than it is. You just had to read carefully, and that was the biggest problem with this one.